Time is not the problem. Everybody has the same 24 hours. The question is, what are you doing with yours? We blame time for what focus has failed to do. We keep saying, if I had more time, I'd get in shape. If I had more time, I'd build that business. If I had more time, I'd write that book. But let's be honest, time is not hiding from you. Time is not playing favorites. What you need is not more hours in the day. You need more clarity in your direction, more discipline in your habits, more intention in your action, more focus in your thinking. A scattered mind will always waste even the best of schedules. A focused mind can turn 1 hour into gold. Time expands when focus sharpens. When you are locked in, distractions shrink. When your purpose becomes crystal clear, excuses fade. You stop counting hours and start making hours count. You start showing up, not just going through the motions. You stop reacting and start creating. Focus is not a gift, it's a decision. It's a daily choice to say no to what's good, so you can say yes to what's best. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your focus. So cut the noise, silence the unnecessary, turn off the notifications that steal your life one ping at a time. Your dream doesn't need more time, it needs more focus. Want results? Then give your best energy to the best things. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. Focus is power because it multiplies your effort. It turns average days into productive days. It turns small progress into unstoppable momentum. Success isn't found in the rush. It's found in the ability to keep your eyes on the target when the world is full of noise. So today, don't beg for more hours. Don't wait for perfect timing. You already have what you need. You just need to focus, and when you do, the results will shock you. Everyone has 24 hours time is not the issue. It never has been. From the most successful people in the world to those still trying to find their way, every one of them wakes up with the same number of hours. The difference isn't the clock, it's what you choose to do with it. Some people squeeze a full life into one day. Others let their day drift by in pieces, distracted and unfocused. Time does not discriminate. It's not biased, but how we use it, that tells the whole story. The truth is, most people aren't out of time, they're just out of alignment. Out of focus, out of clarity. They wake up with no plan, no priority, and no purpose. And then they wonder where the hours went. If you don't run your day will run you. If you don't direct your energy will get pulled in every direction. And the world is full of distractions. Endless scrolling, pointless conversations, urgent things pretending to be important. You can lose a day to noise. You can lose a life that way too. But when you get focused, when you start putting intention behind your time, things change. You stop giving away minutes like they don't matter. You start treating your time like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. You guard your mornings. You structure your evenings. You say no more often, not to be rude, but to protect your vision. Because your future is shaped by what you do in the present, and the present is shaped by how you spend your time. You can't stretch the clock. You can't manufacture more hours, but you can sharpen your focus. You can make better choices. You can design your day instead of reacting to it. Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. You don't need a longer to-do list. You need a shorter list of things that actually move you forward. Because busyness and progress are not the same thing. You can be in motion and still go nowhere. You can fill your day and still feel empty. But when you align your time with your purpose, when you match your actions to your values, everything starts to click. The hours become fuel, not stress. You feel momentum instead of burnout. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you build, brick by brick, hour by hour, choice by choice. The ones who get ahead, they're not working with more time. They're just working with more clarity. They know what matters. they know what doesn't, and they build their schedule around that, not the other way around. So the question isn't, how much time do you have? The question is, what are you doing with it? Because everyone has 24 hours, but not everyone uses them wisely. Lack of focus is disguised as a lack of time. Most people blame time when the real issue is scattered attention. They say, "I'm too busy," but what they really mean is, "I'm too distracted." They think they're overwhelmed by tasks, when in reality, they're just pulled in too many directions at once. Time hasn't changed, but our attention, it's under attack. Every ping, every notification, every scroll through social media, each one chips away at our ability to focus, and over time, it becomes a habit. A habit of fragmentation. We start multitasking everything, thinking we're being efficient, when we're really diluting our power. Focus is the bridge between goals and results. Without it, you can have the best plan, the greatest ambition, and still get nowhere. Because scattered effort produces scattered outcomes. When your attention is divided, your impact is weakened. When your mind is cluttered, even simple tasks feel heavy. We've been trained to react, to jump from one thing to the next, to stay busy without being effective. So it's no wonder people feel like there's never enough time. But it's not the clock that's the problem, it's the chaos in our minds. You don't need more hours. You need fewer distractions. You need to eliminate what doesn't serve the mission. You need silence. You need clarity. You need space to think, to create, to move forward with intent. Focus isn't just about working hard, it's about working on the right things. It's about saying no more often, not out of laziness, but out of purpose. It's about protecting your attention like your future depends on it, because it does. You can't grow something meaningful if your energy is always divided. You can't build your best life in a storm of interruption, and most of that storm, it's self-inflicted. We open the apps, we check the messages, we fill every quiet moment with noise, but deep work requires deep focus. And deep focus requires conscious effort. You have to train yourself to stay with one thing longer than your impulses allow. You have to break free from the addiction to instant stimulation, because that's what's stealing your time. Not the job, not the kids, not the responsibilities. It's the 1,000 tiny interruptions you tolerate every day. Cut those, and you'll find more time than you ever thought you had. The problem isn't your schedule, it's how often your mind leaves it. Every time you jump from task to task, you lose momentum. Every time you let a distraction pull you away, you waste energy finding your way back. Focus is like a muscle. You strengthen it by resisting the urge to quit. You sharpen it by practicing presence, and you preserve it by guarding what enters your mind. So before you say, "I don't have time," ask yourself, where is my attention going? Because when your focus is clear, time stretches. When your mind is steady, progress accelerates. And when you stop blaming time, you finally take control of your life. Clarity and purpose drive better use of time. Knowing what you want helps eliminate what you don't need. Most people aren't lazy, they're just unclear. They're not short on time, they're short on direction. When you don't know where you're going, everything feels urgent, everything looks important, and before you know it, your day is filled with things that don't actually move you forward. But the moment you get clear on your destination, the noise starts to fade, decisions become easier, distractions lose their power, because now you're guided by a mission, not just a mood. You stop waking up wondering what to do. You wake up with purpose, with priorities, with a plan that's aligned with who you want to become. Clarity is a filter. It helps you see what fits and what doesn't. It helps you recognize the difference between busy work and meaningful work. A person with purpose doesn't need to chase everything. They don't need to say yes to every request. They don't have to prove their worth through overcommitment. They know what matters. They know what deserves their time. And they're not afraid to walk away from what doesn't align. Purpose creates focus. Focus creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. And that confidence, it comes from knowing that every hour you invest is building something that matters to you. When you have no purpose, time feels like pressure. It feels like you're running out of it. It feels like there's never enough. But when you have clarity, time becomes fuel. You're no longer trying to do everything, you're doing the right things. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't waste hours starting and stopping because you're anchored in something real. And here's the truth. Most time is lost in indecision, in overthinking, in trying to do everything perfectly because you haven't decided what truly matters. But when you define your values, your goals, your priorities, you stop hesitating. You start executing. You become intentional with every block of your day, because you're not just filling a schedule, you're fulfilling a vision. Clarity gives you permission to let go. Let go of comparison. Let go of pressure. Let go of the things that pull you in 10 directions. It simplifies life, and in that simplicity you find power. The power to say yes to what builds you, and no to what breaks your focus. The more precise your aim, the more effective your action. The more connected you are to your why, the more natural the discipline becomes. You don't have to force productivity, it flows from purpose. You don't need more hours, you need better alignment. So take the time to get clear. Ask yourself what you truly want, and then build your days around that answer. Because once you know what matters most, you stop wasting time on what doesn't. A focused hour is worth more than a distracted day. Quality of focus multiplies results, even in short time frames. We often think that more time means more achievement, but it doesn't. What matters is not how long you work, it's how present you are while working. You can sit in front of a screen for 8 hours and get nothing meaningful done. You can also lock in for 60 minutes and create something powerful, something real. That's the difference between time and focus. Focus is intensity, it's energy, it's presence. And when you combine those in even a small block of time, you unlock a level of progress that feels exponential. Distraction is a thief. It steals not just your minutes, but your momentum. It makes simple things feel difficult. It turns hours into fragments of unfinished thoughts. Every time you switch tasks, scroll through your phone, or check another tab, you're not just losing seconds, you're losing depth. You're breaking your rhythm, you're weakening your flow. But when you stay focused, when you go deep on one thing at a time, you move faster, smoother, clearer. The work becomes more than a task, it becomes a craft. Focused work is rare now, that's why it's so valuable. In a world of distractions, someone who can give their full attention is unstoppable. That kind of focus turns average skills into excellence. It turns small efforts into major outcomes. It turns short time into long-term gain. You don't need to grind 12 hours a day to succeed. You just need to show up fully for the time you have. One focused hour a day, every day, can change your life. It can build a business. It can write a book. It can transform your health. It can repair relationships. It can teach you a new skill because that hour is uninterrupted. It's intentional. It's aimed. And that kind of time has power. Distractions might feel small in the moment, but they compound into delay, regret, and wasted potential. Focus feels hard at first, but it compounds into mastery, freedom, and results. Focus isn't just about discipline, it's about direction. It's knowing what deserves your full attention and giving it fully. When you give your mind one thing to do and you stick with it, you train yourself to go deeper. You become more efficient, more creative, more productive. The goal isn't just to be busy, it's to be effective. And effectiveness comes from doing fewer things with more focus. Stop trying to stretch your hours. Start increasing the value of your minutes. Measure your progress by depth, not just duration. because when you look back, you'll realize it wasn't the long days that changed your life. It was the focused moments, the clear decisions, the undistracted effort. So don't ask, how much time do I have? Ask, how focused can I be with the time I've got? Because one focused hour, truly committed and undisturbed, will always outperform 10 distracted ones. Discipline and intention create momentum. Focused effort builds consistency, and consistency builds greatness. Most people wait to feel motivated. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect alignment of energy and desire. But those moments are rare, and they don't last. Success doesn't come from how you feel. It comes from what you do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is the muscle that moves you forward when motivation runs dry. It's the voice that says, show up anyway, do it anyway, keep going, not because it's easy, but because it matters. When you pair discipline with intention, you stop drifting. You stop reacting to your day, and you begin to direct it. You move with purpose. You take control of your actions, and your actions start building momentum. Momentum is powerful. It doesn't require massive leaps, just consistent steps. And once it begins, it carries you. It makes the next decision easier, the next habit stronger, the next day more productive. It's like rolling a heavy ball. At first, it's hard, it takes force, it resists. But once you get it moving even a little, it starts to roll. And the more consistent your effort, the faster it goes. That's how greatness is built, not in bursts, not in sudden surges of energy, but in the quiet repetition of focused effort. Discipline gives you structure. Intention gives you purpose. And together, they create a rhythm. When you work with intention, every task has meaning. Every decision becomes a brick in the foundation you're building. And that foundation gets stronger with every small act of consistency. The gym session you didn't skip, the journal entry you wrote, the extra hour you studied, the call you made, they may not seem life-changing in the moment, but over time they compound, they build something bigger than the sum of their parts. That's the secret. Consistency is quiet, but it's also relentless. And it's in that quiet, steady progress that greatness is formed, not in one huge effort, but in hundreds of small ones, stacked day after day. Built through discipline, fueled by intention. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be committed. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something and do it with focus. Because once you build momentum, your energy changes. You start trusting yourself. You feel progress. You see results. And those results inspire more action, more discipline, more intention. It becomes a cycle, a positive loop, a lifestyle. So don't wait for motivation. Build momentum, create structure, set your intention each day and follow it through, even when it's hard. That's how discipline transforms you. That's how focused effort shapes you. That's how greatness is earned, not given. One intentional action at a time. One disciplined day stacked on the next. One consistent step forward, again and again. You don't need more time, just fewer distractions. Social media, notifications, and noise rob us of creative energy. We live in a world that's always buzzing. Pings, alerts, endless updates, all fighting for your attention. And little by little, they steal it. You sit down to work, a notification pops up. You glance just for a second. And now your focus is gone. Your mind is no longer on the task, it's split. That 1 second turns into 5 minutes, then 10, and before you know it, an hour has vanished. It's not that you didn't have time. It's that your time was broken into fragments, and fragments are where dreams go to die, because real progress requires depth, not surface level scrolling, not half finished thoughts, not starting and stopping every few minutes. It requires space, mental space. It requires presence. And presence can't exist when your mind is being pulled in 10 directions at once. Every app is designed to keep you hooked. Not informed but addicted. Not inspired but distracted. And every time you reach for your phone without thinking, you're training your brain to run from focus. You're weakening your attention span. But here's the truth: your best work, your best ideas, your deepest clarity, they live beyond the noise. They live in silence. They live in stillness. They live in the moments when the world is quiet and your mind is clear. That's when creativity wakes up. That's when purpose becomes louder than pressure. That's when you start making progress that actually means something. You don't need a bigger calendar. You need stronger boundaries. You need to reclaim your time from the things that waste it. Every distraction you eliminate creates space for something more meaningful. Every time you resist the urge to scroll, you build strength. Every moment of silence is an invitation to go deeper. You start finding your thoughts again. You start hearing your own voice, not just the noise of the crowd. And in that space, you get to choose. You choose what matters. You choose what gets your attention. You choose where your energy goes, because your energy is limited. Your time is limited, but your control, that's yours. You don't have to answer every message right away. You don't have to stay connected 24/7. You don't owe every distraction your attention. The world will keep spinning, but you get to slow down. You get to unplug. You get to focus. Not everything requires your reaction. Some things just require your discipline to ignore. Because the less noise you allow in, the more clarity you'll discover within. You already have the time. You just need to protect it. Not from others, but from yourself. From the habits that steal your minutes. From the screens that blur your vision. From the voices that drown out your own. So today, turn it off, log out, put the phone down, and return to what matters. Not just because it's important, but because it's yours. Your vision, your goal, your time. And the world doesn't need another distracted person. It needs someone who's dialed in, focused, present. That someone is you. Focus is a decision, not a talent. It's not something you wait for, it's something you choose every day. We often treat focus like it's a gift some people are born with. As if certain people just happen to be wired for concentration, for discipline, for staying on track. But that's not how it works. Focus isn't about personality, it's about choice. It's about commitment. Every morning you wake up, you face 100 directions you could go. 100 things asking for your time, your energy, your attention. And in that moment you decide. You decide what matters. You decide what gets your full presence. You decide what gets ignored even when it's tempting. That's focus, not magic, not a spark from the universe. A simple, deliberate act of choosing what's most important and sticking with it. The truth is, most people aren't losing the game because of lack of skill. They're losing because they haven't learned how to guard their focus. They let the day pull them instead of directing it. They let interruptions lead instead of setting boundaries. They wait for inspiration instead of deciding to act. But the ones who succeed, they've made a different decision. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for a perfect environment. They focus because they've made it non-negotiable. It's not about feeling like it. It's about doing it anyway. That kind of discipline changes everything. It builds trust in yourself. It creates momentum. It sets you apart. Because in a distracted world, focused people are rare. And rare becomes valuable. Rare becomes powerful. You don't need to be naturally gifted at concentration. You just need to practice it. You just need to train yourself to stay with one thing longer than your impulses allow. Yes, it's hard at first. Yes, your mind will wander. Yes, you'll feel uncomfortable. But over time, it gets easier. Focus grows with use. Like a muscle, it strengthens when challenged. And every time you choose it, you're shaping a stronger version of yourself. You're telling your mind, this matters. You're telling your time, this is where we're going. You're telling your life, I'm in control. Because when you don't choose your focus, the world will choose it for you. And you may not like where that takes you, so stop waiting for the right moment. Start creating it, right now, today, with what you have. Decide what matters most. Eliminate what doesn't, and commit, not just for an hour, but as a lifestyle. Focus is not about force, it's about alignment. When you're aligned with your purpose, focus becomes natural. When you believe in what you're building, focus becomes fuel. And when you practice choosing it, day in and day out, it becomes who you are. Not someone who drifts, but someone who decides. Not someone who reacts, but someone who creates. That's the power of focus. And it starts the moment you stop waiting and start choosing. Saying no to the good opens space for the great. Eliminating distractions allows your best work to rise. Life is full of good things, good opportunities, good conversations, good ideas, but good can be the enemy of great. Not because it's bad, but because it's comfortable. Because it's easy to settle there. You weren't meant to settle. You were meant to rise, and to rise, you have to make room. Room in your schedule, room in your mind, room in your energy. The great things, the ones that define your life, they need space to breathe. They need time. They need your full attention. But when you're constantly saying yes to everything that's good enough, you end up with no room left for what truly matters. You say yes to one more task, one more event, one more favor, until your plate is full, but your purpose is empty. You can't do everything, and you're not supposed to. Clarity comes when you start letting go of what looks appealing but isn't aligned. Letting go of what keeps you busy but not fulfilled. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to pursue the vision that's been placed inside you. And sometimes that means saying no even to things that seem worthwhile. No is not rejection. No is protection. You're protecting your focus. You're protecting your time. You're protecting your future. And the more you say no to the noise, the louder your true voice becomes. Distractions don't always look like problems. They often show up disguised as opportunities. They flatter you with urgency. They tempt you with short-term comfort. But when you eliminate them, you find something deeper. You find rhythm, you find flow, you find depth, because your best work doesn't come from a cluttered mind. It comes from clarity. It comes from space. It comes when you're not pulled in 5 directions. Focus is not just about concentration. It's about decision. It's about choosing the few things that matter over the many things that don't. And that choice takes courage, because it's hard to walk away from something good. It's hard to turn down approval, applause, attention. But greatness is rarely found in convenience. It's found in commitment. It's found in saying yes to the difficult path that leads to growth, and no to the comfortable one that leads to stagnation. You don't become excellent by chance. You become excellent by design, by intentionally creating an environment where your best work can emerge. And that starts with subtraction, with cutting what doesn't serve, with pruning the excess. What's left behind is focus. What rises is purpose. What grows is greatness. So next time something good comes your way, ask yourself, does this move me closer to what matters most? If it doesn't, be brave enough to pass. Be bold enough to protect your space. Because that space isn't empty, it's sacred. It's where your genius lives. It's where your vision grows. It's where your future is built. Let the good go, so the great can finally rise. Success requires deep work, not shallow effort. Big progress comes from concentrated, uninterrupted time. We live in a world of shortcuts, quick fixes, instant results. But the truth is, real success doesn't come from dipping your toe in the water. It comes from diving deep. You can't build something meaningful with half your attention. You can't create excellence in the cracks between distractions. You need depth, you need time, you need to go further than the surface. Shallow effort looks busy, it looks like multitasking, it feels like you're always doing something, but motion isn't the same as progress. Busyness isn't the same as achievement. You can spend the whole day answering emails, checking messages, and jumping from one task to another, and still end the day feeling like you did nothing that truly mattered. Because the work that moves the needle isn't scattered, it's focused, it's intentional, it's uninterrupted. Deep work means giving one task your full energy. It means closing the door, silencing the noise, and letting your mind settle into the challenge. That's when you find your best ideas. That's when you do your most meaningful work. It's not always comfortable. In fact, it often feels hard because deep work demands effort. It demands presence. It demands that you stay with the task longer than your impulses want to. But that's where breakthroughs live. That's where mastery begins. You don't master a craft in 10-second bursts. You don't build a dream by switching tabs every 5 minutes. You build it by staying with it. By digging in when it's difficult. By giving it your full presence. Distractions pull you away from greatness. Every interruption resets your focus. Every ping, every glance at the phone, every shift in attention, it costs you more than time. It costs you momentum. It costs you depth. And depth is where the magic is. It's where a writer finds the perfect sentence, where a builder finds the strongest design, where a leader finds the clarity to move forward. You can't access that in chaos. You access it in stillness, in silence, in sustained, focused effort. Success doesn't need you to be everywhere. It needs you to be fully where you are. Not halfway here, halfway there. Not trying to do everything at once. It needs you to choose, to commit, to go all in. Give your full energy to one thing, for 1 hour. Watch what happens. You'll do more in that hour than in an entire distracted day. That's not theory, that's reality, because depth multiplies results. It brings clarity, efficiency, creativity, and over time that deep work stacks. It becomes skill, it becomes confidence, it becomes success. So stop chasing shallow tasks just to feel productive. Start carving out time for focused, meaningful work. Protect your time, guard your attention, and dig deep, because the surface will always be crowded. But deep down, that's where excellence lives. Your future doesn't depend on having more hours, just more focus. Sharpen your focus, and you'll be shocked how far you go with what you already have. We all wish we had more time. More hours in the day, more space to breathe, more room to catch up. But the truth is, more time won't fix what a lack of focus breaks. You can stretch the hours, adjust the calendar, and rearrange your schedule, but if your focus is scattered, your results will be too. Success doesn't belong to the person with the most hours. It belongs to the one who uses their hours with clarity. One person spends all day busy, running around, multitasking, finishing tasks, checking boxes. Another person sits down, blocks out the noise, and gives 2 focused hours to something that matters. Guess who makes real progress? It's not about how much time you put in, it's about how much attention you give. Focused energy turns ordinary time into something powerful. It turns minutes into milestones. It turns small beginnings into unstoppable momentum. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters with more focus. When your mind is clear, when your attention is undivided, you can tap into a level of creativity, discipline, and execution that shocks you, because it was always there. You just weren't tapping into it. You were distracted. You were busy. You were stretched too thin. But when you cut the noise, everything changes. The fog lifts. The path becomes clear. And what once felt impossible becomes manageable. You don't need a longer day. You need a stronger decision. A decision to be present. A decision to show up for what truly matters. A decision to give your best energy to the right things. That's when you start seeing results. That's when progress speeds up. That's when things finally start to move. It's not about more hustle, it's about sharper alignment. It's not about doing asterisk everything asterisk, it's about doing the asterisk essential things asterisk with excellence. You can run in circles all day and end up exhausted with nothing to show for it. Or you can focus in, cut the distractions, and move forward with power and purpose. That's what changes the game. That's what builds the future. You already have what you need. The hours are enough. The tools are there. The potential is alive inside you. What's missing is not time, it's concentrated effort. It's the ability to stay with something longer than your comfort allows. To resist the pull of the easy and choose the path of focus. When you sharpen that focus, everything else becomes easier, decisions become clearer, priorities become obvious, distractions lose their grip. You stop reacting to life and you start building it. You stop drifting and you start directing. Because the future isn't waiting for more time, it's waiting for your attention, your intention, your focus. You already have the hours. Now sharpen the focus and watch how far you go. So stop searching for more hours. Start sharpening your focus, because what you're looking for isn't out there in extra time, it's already within you. The progress, the breakthrough, the results you've been chasing, they're waiting on your ability to lock in, to commit with clarity, to show up with intention. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters and do it without distraction. Focus is your superpower, and once you learn to use it, there's no limit to how far you can go.